and I am here with Jimmy V, who is a co-founder of Gravitational Marketing. Jimmy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Al. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Yeah, you see me looking towards the screen. I'm on a nice large screen. I got Jimmy to my left, so I'll look to him when he's talking. That being said, we want to talk to you today about the times that we are in. We are just trying to be really helpful in this time frame that we are doing business in. Completely uncharted waters, as the slide said, going into this. So I thought we'd chat with Jimmy for a few minutes about his business. Jimmy, just give us a rundown. Gravitational Marketing, what's the core of your business? What do you guys do?
Yeah, the large core of our business is working with retail automotive dealerships all over the United States and Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We have clients in about 150 markets, and we work with them in advertising capacity and advertising placement in digital, traditional media, creative creation, branding campaigns, and direct sales. So in all, but what's also unique about our agency is that we also function as almost a business consultancy,
right,
which has a membership component. So our dealer group is all connected with one another. We share resources, we share IP, we have our own branding components, and everybody uses that stuff. And so we can really kind of leverage each other and leverage campaigns across the country and in Canada. So it's cool.
Yeah. So branding right down to leads, right down to closing a sale. You guys are doing it all with the dealerships. Okay. So right now dealerships find themselves, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jimmy.
I would say we really focus on 4 core essentials, which is advertising, we're attracting customers, leadership of self and others, culture in the business, and systems and processes. So we're covering all of those categories.
Covering hitting on all cylinders, as they say. No pun intended, right? That being said, so right now, very challenging times for dealers, very challenging time for lots of businesses.
Yeah.
But because we're going to focus in your area of expertise, front of the building looking a little dark, curbside service and sales in some sense. Back of the building is up and operating and considered essential. So why don't you explain what that means to a person who might not know what a dealership and how it runs?
Yeah, so there's really, like you said, two components of a dealership. There's the front, the sales side, the retail sales side, and then there's in general, the many dealerships have a service side of the business in the back of the house. When the federal government started these shelter-in-place regulations and states have decided to adopt those practices, many businesses were shuttered for the time being, and certain business types deemed essential, like food delivery, medical, and in this case, automotive service. Because if you have a car and you're driving back and forth and you're a service worker and whatnot, and you need your vehicle repaired, it's essential that you have that ability. But the sales side of the business is not deemed essential. But in certain states, our clients have been deemed, the sales side has been deemed essential.
Right.
And we started having conversations around that and how we can help our dealerships either get essential status, or if not actually getting essential status, what we know is that our dealers who do business the right way in a local community, they are essential to somebody, right? And I think every business leader, every small business owner is essential to their core constituency, right?
Sure. Yep.
And I believe that we have an opportunity here to step up and really embrace who ourselves as leaders, really identify who our constituents is, who we are essential to, and ask ourselves, how can we be more essential or stay essential to those people, even though we're in challenging times?
So part of the essential part of that, the thing that keeps you essential is to keep you top of mind, right? Which is, the core of any good marketing effort, is that you're on top of the person's mind, whether they're in the cycle of being ready to buy, or whether they're in the cycle of thinking about it, back on through, to where a person is just kind of a passive lead and not about to buy. So from the standpoint of buying, if someone's ready to buy, I've seen national spots where, you know, the national companies, the automakers are saying, we're here to service you. They have some great deals. They have 0% financing. They're encouraging people to buy. And we all know that, that those of us that are closer to the business, inventory is everything, right? The floor plan, you got to keep cars moving. So how do dealers work that into the messaging today? If they haven't shut down completely, which I live in northwestern Vermont. It's not where I'm from, it's where I live. The dealers are across the lake in New York State, some of them shut down completely and will reopen at a certain date. Others remain open, and others are like I said, offering curbside, you know, car pickup. You do it all online, you pick it up at the curb. So how does a dealer keep their message out there? And then this can really go for any business. How do you stay fresh? And let's kind of boil down for people who are watching this. What's the messaging we're trying to give, and how do we give it?
Yeah. So Al, I think, you know, our company largely works with dealers today. But in the past, we've worked with all types of small businesses all over the country. And from our point of view, the first rule of intergalactic marketing, as we call it here at Gravitational Marketing, is to give value first. Mm-hmm. Right? So the marketing messages that you're putting out, even when times were good, right, especially when times are bad, they really have to take that rule into account and apply that in the marketing and say, how can we be of value right now to the people we serve, to our communities that we serve? And in some ways, that may be how we're operating and doing business, and how the message that we're using to try to make sales. Because, you know, as you mentioned, the large automotive manufacturers, well, they're putting tons of incentives out on the table right now that are unprecedented incentives, you know, stuff that we haven't seen since, you know, 9/11, with 0% financing and deferred payment opportunities and low, you know, 0% interest rates. All of these incentives, which really make it a great time to purchase a vehicle, if you're in the market, or if you need it, and if your local dealer is open and able to sell. But so that there's a lot of value. There's a lot of value first coming from the manufacturers, and then through the dealers down to the individuals. But maybe you don't have that opportunity. Maybe you don't have you know, someone who's creating incentives, unprecedented incentives for you to use. The question, though, still remains: how can you be of value to the people you serve, your community that you serve right now? And in some ways, even if you can't do business because you're sheltered in place and the business is shuttered for the time being, how can you be of service to your community? And one of the reasons why this is such a big focus for us in the dealership space is because typically a dealership is one of the largest, or is the largest, small business in any community, right? And they have, in my opinion, and this is what we teach to our dealer group and in our membership, is that you have a responsibility, we believe, to, because you are the largest or one of the largest small businesses in any community, you have an opportunity and a responsibility to be a hub, to be a service, a value to the community, to be part of the community, and to be a responsible steward of that of that community.
So you showed me yesterday, you had a dealership that literally said to their customers, if you need someone to go to the drugstore for you, if you need help, we have people in cars, we'll go get that done. Is that an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in that case, the client is in California. California they're unable to operate there at all. The service side of their business is operating, but the rest of it is not. And so she found a way to, hey, how come she was answering this question?
Brilliant.
How can you be valuable in a time like this? And, you know, it's kind of this, you know, give now and get later. It's give to get, you know what I mean?
Like, exactly. Exactly. Right.
if we can show responsible stewardship right now, and that we're a member of, a faithful member of the community, willing to serve and do what we can and utilize our resources and our power for good now, then later that will come back to us as business when times are better and we were able to reopen.
So does that apply to messaging too? I'll give you an example. Hotels.com, they've got their captain character. They have a spot running. He's sitting back. He's drinking a seltzer. He's just relaxing, basically saying, we'll be back, Is that the kind of message that any business, including the dealer, should be saying and doing? And in other words, should they keep the marketing out there? Should they keep the message in front of people to say, when things get normal, we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere today. We're not going anywhere tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, Al. In 2008, 2009, when the mortgage crisis and debacle happened, and all of that economic turmoil that came from the Great Recession there, we were talking about something then we called reject the recession. And really the point there was, when you go back and analyze recessions and economic downturns in our history,
right?
The people who continue advertising, the people whose presence is the strongest through the downturn, end up having the most meteoric rise after on the upswing. Right?
That's a hard pill for an owner to swallow, right? Because you've got, you got 99 problems, and advertising being number one is hard to swallow when you've got employees and benefits and maintaining, and unfortunately some businesses are having to downsize. So that seems almost diametrically opposed. You're saying keep your message out there, at the same time you're telling employees we're going to have to furlough you or lay you off. But there is wisdom in what you're saying. The meteoric rise of those who keep marketing after a crisis occurs, they typically, and I had some Harvard Business Review stuff out not long ago. The charts are there. Those that advertised, when things started coming back, the line looked like, or didn't advertise. Those that silenced themselves, the growth line was straight. Those that kept the market going, as soon as the market opened up and exploded, their line shot right up with it. So it's not just Jimmy V and Al Getler here talking about it. Harvard Business Review has a chart. So if the Harvard Business Review has a chart, it happened, Jimmy. That's it.
This is like, the marketing guy is saying is self-serving.
Exactly right. And I'm a media guy, and I'm selling media. So it's the same thing. So I think as we wrap up, Jimmy, I've got some spots queued up here, and maybe I can just play one of them, and if we see a need for two, but why don't we show that, and then we can come back and you can kind of just maybe talk us through what we saw in this spot. And
when our country is faced with adversity, we find a way to get through it. It's not about taking care of ourselves, but taking care of each other, checking on our neighbors, lending a hand where we can, and just being there. It's the sum of the small parts that make a big difference. To help you get through this, we promise to do ours. We're offering Chevy owners complimentary OnStar Crisis Assist services and Wi-Fi data to help keep you connected to the things that matter most. And if you need help with your current vehicle account, we're here. For those who need a new Chevy, interest-free financing for an unprecedented 84 months, with deferred monthly payments for 120 days on many of our most popular models. You may even have the option to shop online from your local dealer and take delivery at home. It's just our way of doing our part.
Right out of the gate, we're here. Next thing is, not only are we here, we're going to give you OnStar for free during this crisis. And if you've ever had OnStar in your car, my wife had an OnStar onboard accident, and it was every bit the commercial. Literally, as the impact was occurring, a phone was ringing and OnStar was on the line. And I'm just a huge fan of OnStar. It's great. So in addition to that, they're saying buy a vehicle, you're going to get a great rate for well-qualified buyers. And chances are you're going to have the car delivered right to your driveway in this deal. So lots of messages there, but that's it broken down. What can you add to that?
Yeah, so I think you have to realize that this national commercial coming out from the national manufacturer has really two constituencies that they're talking to and that they're using this ad for. They have the dealer constituency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is ultimately they're a client, right?
Right. Right.
Because the dealers are buying vehicles from the manufacturer and then reselling those vehicles to the consumer.
Right.
But then also to the consumer who is buying their brand, right? Or they're trying to influence them to buy their brand over another brand. So
Mm-hmm.
there's really two groups of people they're talking to here. They're positioning the dealers in a favorable light to their end consumers,
Right.
dealers' end consumers, which is the buyer. And they're positioning their brand to the general market as a value to them,
Right.
and showing them how they're being a benefit to them. So they're really working two angles, two sets of customers at the same time.
Right.
And doing a really fabulous job with it. I mean, going back to my initial talking point, which was about giving value first. There really is a value first message.
Absolutely. It starts with value and ends with service. And, Jimmy, as like I said, as we kind of wrap up here, but I take that big national spot, right? I live on an island in Vermont, and we're a small island community. We have a little general store, Killer Bay Variety. Okay. And they are there every day. Every morning, the grocery truck pulls up and they're unloading pallets, and they're offering the service of either driving it to your house or you pulling up to the front of the store and having them hand you your groceries. And it's the point that makes it's the OnStar of GM, right? It's that we are there for you today. We're going to be there for you tomorrow. Let's get through this together. And I think that's what you're saying for your dealers too. Keep the message out there. You just said they're the most relevant business in a lot of communities. I can tell you, being in the newspaper business and the advertising business all these years that I have been, that's absolutely true. The dealers, some of them are the most important and influential people in town, and how they handle that important influence is so key to how they're viewed. And it's a great message to all business owners to be relevant. So before we wrap up, Jimmy, anything you want to just say closing it out?
Yeah, all business owners are relevant to some group of people and have a responsibility to those people. And we saw a national ad, but as I said, as you were just saying, it comes down to even at the local level, it's much more personal here at the local level, right?
Absolutely.
And they can make some national, incentive plans that are helpful, but on the ground, we can do so much more through our marketing with a value first mindset, and through our actions and activity as a business leader, community leader, business owner. We have influence over our staffs. We have influence over our communities, and we have an opportunity and in certain cases, a responsibility here to step up and to show people what we can do and what we're made of.
That's a leadership message right there.
It is.
As Patrick Lencioni would say, the great business writer, not only you're the chief executive officer, you're the chief repeating officer, because you got to get the same message out to your employees every time you speak. So yeah, absolutely. Sorry I interrupted you, but yeah.
No, it's great. You're right on point with it. And I think it's a message for all. This is a message for all business owners of all types and sizes. Yeah, you can use your marketing as a tool to give value, even if that value is just being positive, sending a positive message in a time where it's tough to be positive, where it's hard to find the good amongst all the bad.
Right.
To be because you are a powerful voice, because you have an opportunity you are a leader and you have an opportunity to have the microphone, to use that microphone to cut through the clutter, negativity, and be a beacon of positive influence to the communities you serve. Even that in and of itself is leadership and value right now.
Well,
any and all opportunities to do
absolutely. That. Jimmy V, you are the man. Gravitational marketing, your story is incredible. If folks don't know about the business, where can they go to learn more about it?
You can go to gravitationalmarketing.com, and on that website is our personal entrepreneurial journey story. And we built this business with $200 in the bank, and me and my business partner, and have have slogged through, bootstrap the thing from there to where we are today. And
Outstanding. That's a great story, man. And you are a fabulous guy, and your family is just favorites of mine whenever we get together. So it's good stuff. Well, listen, it's been a great conversation, Jimmy. With that, I'm going to thank folks for tuning into us. My name is Al Getler, and watch for more information coming from Jimmy V and I, and some other business leaders as we go through this crisis together. And until then, take care. And we invite you to come back again and hear what we have to say. Thank you.
Thanks for being a beacon of positivity and leadership, Al. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jimmy V. You as well. Take care.